Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, May 17, 2023. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is reiterating his call for more funding to support climate change adaptation among small island developing states, SIDS. Mr. Holness made the plea on Monday during a joint press briefing with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. According to the Prime Minister, there is need for a comprehensive approach to addressing vulnerabilities to climate change and external economic shocks. Part of that approach, Mr. Holness says, is a reform of the international financial architecture to address unique risks and challenges such as climate change. Even as he welcomed the United Nations Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, the Prime Minister insists that more climate adaptation funds must be made available to adequately address the challenges faced by small island developing states.
It is a moral imperative that more developed countries seek to ensure that countries like Jamaica, small island developing states who are vulnerable to climate impacts, are put in a position where they can adapt to the changing climate, where there is some reparations for loss and damage, and that we benefit from technologies that could mitigate the impact. And so we continue to work, we have been working, and we stand in solidarity with the UN system, and our voices will continue to work in practical ways within the UN system to achieve these reforms.
Jamaica has welcomed over 1.5 million visitors, with provisional gross earnings exceeding $1.6 billion since the start of the year. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett provided the update at the 41st Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association CHTA Caribbean Travel Marketplace in Barbados. In celebrating Jamaica's tourism achievement up to May, he points out that the latest figures outperformed the projected target. The minister says there will be increased marketing efforts, the expansion of air traffic connectivity, and expanded accommodations to continue driving the tourism boom. He has also highlighted the Blue Ocean and Destination Assurance Framework strategies as strong pillars that are vital to the development of a resilient and sustainable tourism product. Meanwhile, Jamaica will be hosting the CHTA's 42nd Caribbean Travel Marketplace to be held next May in Montego Bay. The announcement was made jointly by Minister Bartlett and President of the CHTA, Nicola Madden-Gregg, during the Destination Update press conference in Barbados a few days ago. During this year's event, Minister Bartlett was given the President's Award for Caribbean Excellence in Tourism. The Jamaica Customs Agency JCA has rolled out its contactless clearance process option for non-commercial cargo. The full implementation of Phase 1 became effective on May 1, following a pilot undertaken from October 2022 to January 2023. The process involves customs undertaking inspections of non-commercial cargo without the importer or an agent having to be present for that exercise. Director of Cargo Imaging, Kingsley Henry, says during the pilot phase, almost 3,000 contactless clearance declaration submissions were received. He says the pilot confirmed the need to expand the number of payment options available to importers.
We want to get to the point, for example, we have been working on a payment application that would allow you to say anywhere in the world and pay. The person who sent you the barrel could also pay once the TRN is on the declaration. A relative who has a debit card or a credit card could pay on your behalf, and the agent could also pay on your behalf.
Mr. Henry was speaking on JIS's current affairs program Get the Facts recently. Other payment options being explored include the use of digital wallets and making more cashiers available at the JCA's outposts in Port Antonio and Mandeville. The other phases to follow are contactless clearance for commercial and air cargoes.
So it's a plan to take us all the way, because one of the things that we are confident about, that this is the first world standard for customs inspection, right? Officers need to be able to do their inspection in a safe, secure environment, and the public needs to be spared the hassle.
For additional information, email Jamaica Customs Agency at contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm or call 876-922-5140 to 8. As government's public sector compensation review exercise continues, salary increases to the tune of $1.7 billion have been granted to members of the Political Directorate for the 2022 to 2025 financial years. The announcement was made by Minister of Finance and Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark in a statement to the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The new salaries reflect an average 200% increase across the board. The new wages take effect for the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, members of Cabinet, Leader of the Opposition and other members of Parliament, as well as the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. However, benefits such as housing and telephone allowances previously paid out for these posts have been discontinued effective April 2022. Meanwhile, commensurate increases were also announced for permanent secretaries, while the salaries of mayors and councillors have also been improved. In making the announcement, Minister Clark asserted that the entire public sector would be put in jeopardy if it were not able to retain its leadership and attract the most appropriate, experienced, and qualified persons to serve.
We have to be able to attract new blood into the leadership levels of the public sector, to infuse new ways of thinking, new ideas for the organization's own growth and development. And we also need to attract persons to leadership, whether those persons are internal to the organization.
Also coming out of Parliament, government will be strengthening road safety management as it seeks to reduce collisions and fatalities. Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, gave that commitment while making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. He says the $400,000 Safe Systems approach to road safety project, announced by the Prime Minister in September 2021, will address important facets of the Jamaican traffic environment.
We will be strengthening road safety management capacities by developing a comprehensive electronic injury surveillance data system. We will be carrying out a study to observe the attitudes of Jamaicans on the road. We will be also, Madam Speaker, purchasing new breathalyzer equipment. We have $73,000 for that. We will be purchasing new speed enforcement equipment, $50,000 for that, and we will be training our officers for the sum of $80,000.
Minister Green says the project is expected to run for over 3 years. And finally, the Ministry of Finance will be signing a transactional advisor in the coming weeks to support the continued implementation of the Community Wi-Fi initiative across the island. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Darrell Vaz, says this action will allow the ministry to meet its target for 2025-2026.
We have already earmarked $1.3 billion for additional community Wi-Fis in this financial year. So while we wait on the bigger picture of the national broadband, which will give connectivity to every nook and cranny of Jamaica, especially those in the unserved or underserved areas.
He was speaking at the recent launch of 3 community hotspots in West Central St. Andrew, where he says an additional 200 residents in the constituency will now be able to connect to the free service. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.